Hello viewers, Sniper Wolf 1001 here with another figure unboxing and review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Capcom Figure Builder Series Nergigante model from Monster Hunter World. Now I'm pretty excited to unbox this because I've been looking forward to getting a Nergigante model from this series. He's a really cool Elder Dragon from Monster Hunter World.
And his name is Nergigante.
So, just taking a look at the box here, you can see, of course we have Nergigante in the back there, but we have this cool picture of him on the front. Taking a look at the side, just showing more of the model there. And then here, just showing various different close-ups of the different body parts of Nergigante here. So, not really too much to look at on the box, so let's jump straight into the unboxing. Oh wow, and this is a really big model. Alright, just get the tape off the sides here. Oh, and it's heavy too. And just with all of the plastic off now. And off the horns. And here we go. Here is the beast in all of his glory. And this is a really cool looking model from what I'm seeing right here. I actually wasn't expecting it to be this big, but this model is actually really massive. Like, I'll do a comparison later with a few of the other monsters that I have from this series, but yeah, this is really big. So I guess just getting on to just taking a close look at this model, we can see that there is definitely a massive level of quality on this Nergigante model, all the way down from the colors, the sculpt, all of the spikes on the body. Just taking a look at the wings here, you can see like the various spikes just completely lining the wing here. All of these spikes, they actually feel very, very sharp and very rigid here, which is actually really cool. Like, you can rub your hand down this and they actually feel very sharp, which is actually pretty cool. Looking down into the coloration of the spikes here, you can see that they look very realistic. You can see that there's a lot of imperfections in them, a lot of divots, a lot of different markings, like you can see on this one here with the various black marks down here. And then of course, you know, you have that coloration here, which is really interesting because you can see just at the base of the top portion of the wing, you can see how everything is very black, very dark down at the base, and then you can kind of see that color shift as it goes straight from black into that bony like color, that kind of gray color that the spikes have, which is really interesting. And then when you take a look to the back of the wings, of course the sections where there's not really any spikes on, you can actually see the various coloration going through the wings. So you can see this black transitioning down into a nice purple, and then we have these little yellow spots here, which are actually really cool. And then of course we have at the ends of the wings, we have these spikes. We have these little spikes right at the ends of the little membrane there, which is really interesting. And then if you take a look down the back, of course you can see like the various spikes lining Nergigante's like spinal area here, just going all the way down. You can see so many spikes down there, and we have that nice dark black, like that very dark color going all the way down its body, down to the tail. You can see it's very dark down here, like a jet black. And then we come down to the end of the tail right here, and of course we see that the spikes are a lot more profound down here than on the back of the body. You can just see like the spikes, a lot of detail again, just like on the wings, very sharp, a lot of jagged edges and stuff on them, which is really cool, right? I'm really liking the color combination here between like the blacks and the purples here. Even if you take a look on the actual base that Nergigante is on, this is, I believe this is supposed to be like a crystal from like the Elder's Recess that he's standing on. This is kind of like a gray, but it definitely does have a tiny bit of like a purplish tinge to it. Just a tiny bit. It's very subtle, but there's definitely a bit of purple on here. So this crystal base actually looks really nice. So I guess if I just tilt this up so we can look at Nergigante's face, just like this, you can see that Nergigante's face is very heavily detailed. You can see his eyes there looking really good. Down into his mouth, you can see like the various teeth there looking really cool. Down, you can see like right into his tongue, and then of course like the membrane of skin on the sides looking very, very detailed. And there's even like very subtle color differences here too. You can see like right on the lower jaw, you can see that those little purple lines right in the middle of the black sections of his jaw there, and then right into like those black spikes that kind of go out the back of the jaw there, looking really good. Also, another detail about the color that I really like is that if you actually draw your attention down here to Nergigante's underside, you can definitely see how the black portions from like the top of his body transition down into a bit of a purple, and then down into like an orange and then yellow just underneath his body. And you can see that that yellow color kind of follows him all the way underneath. Like you can even see just down to the tail. The tail even has a bit of that yellow. Like if you can see just under there, you can see that the yellow kind of follows the underside of the tail all the way to the end there. So it's kind of interesting how on the back here you'll see that the top side of Nergigante is for the most part black, but then you have a very beautiful color combination just on the underside of him, even under his arms as well too. You can see that yellow and orange color there as well too. And then like another detail that I kind of like is just how on the wings there's when you look at the wings, or at the very least where the spikes are more heavily concentrated on his body, you can definitely see that there's like the black sections have almost like a liquidy type of look to them. Like they're very shiny. Even when you look here at these spikes here, they're very shiny and almost have like a bit of like a liquidy look to them, which is kind of interesting because I feel like that was done on purpose to kind of show off I guess like the regeneration of the spikes, because like every time the spikes will break off, you'll grow new ones. So I feel like that liquidy texture that they, or not texture, but that liquidy visual that they have on the spikes and on the top portion of the wing was definitely there to kind of simulate that effect there, which I thought that was actually another really interesting detail here with this model. And then on to his horns too. His horns, very massive, of course, in size. And then you can kind of see, like, I really like this kind of spiral structure here, where you can kind of see it's kind of twisting around almost, and then it goes out here where it goes to this color shift into a black, right? And then even back here, you can see there's a bit of like a chip back there on the back of the horn spikes there, which is really cool. This is honestly a very impressive looking model, and just the texture of it, like just when you just touch it and you can just feel how rough and how rigid those spikes are. This is honestly like a very, very, very well detailed model. When it comes down to Nergigante's pose here, I honestly think that this pose was perfect for Nergigante. I thought that they really did a good job choosing what pose to model Nergigante in, because, you know, just small things like here just really catches my attention. Like if you look at the crystal here, when you look at his claws, you can see his claws just burrowing deep into that crystal. Like he's gripping that crystal really tight, and the way that he's kind of looking down as if he's like peering down on like his next prey. This is a very, very powerful looking pose that they have Nergigante in here. So I definitely really like this pose. It's very well thought out for sure. So I think overall, this model, I think this is probably my favorite of the figure builder series here. Definitely a lot of detail going through it. The colors looking very nice. And of course the size and the scale of this is very beautiful. And like I mentioned before, like the size of this is very big, so I'm going to do a quick comparison here with a few of my other Capcom figure builder models. Alright, so here I'm just doing a quick size comparison between a few of the figure builder models. I do plan on collecting a few more, but these are the ones that I currently have. So as you can see, I have my Velkhana over here, and then I have my Tigrex here. And with all three of these standing side by side, you can definitely see the massive size difference between Nergigante and these other models. It was definitely a massive undertaking for them to make a model of this scale with the quality to follow through with it. So this was definitely very impressive. Even just comparing Nergigante here to Velkhana, you can definitely tell that the stand definitely increases Nergigante's size a lot, but even if we were to take this crystal out of the equation, Nergigante's body, just compared to Velkhana, is just way larger than Velkhana is. Like, the model just by itself is just very massive, even when you compare it to Tigrex here. This is definitely a very large model for this series, and I think easily the largest that they've made so far. So this is honestly very, very impressive and definitely very welcome to this whole figure builder model series. So that's everything I wanted to talk about in regards to the Capcom figure builder series Nergigante model. Now if I were to go on to my final thoughts, I am very, very impressed with this model. Honestly, like, when it came to the Capcom figure builder series, I think Velkhana at the time was my favorite of the line, but now that I finally have my Nergigante, I think Nergigante has easily dethroned my Velkhana. Just because, like, every aspect of this model is just very well done. When it comes to, like, the fact that this is the size that this came with, like, how larger it is in comparison to the other figure builder models, the level of detail, the colors are very impressive, especially when you look at the wings and see, like, the very different color shifts going through the back of the wings, and of course the color transitions from the base of the wing out into the spikes. All of those colors were just done really well. On top of that, when it came to the pose, I feel like this pose for Nergigante was actually well done. And I wasn't expecting them to do a pose like this, but this is definitely more of a subtle pose for Nergigante, but it definitely has a very empowering and almost like dominant feel to it, which is actually really cool. I really like this because it suits Nergigante a lot for like his role in the series. So I think that the pose was definitely really well thought out and really well created, even down to just the simple, very simple things like him, like when you see his claws grasping into the crystal here, and you can even see like stress marks of from the crystal. If I actually bring this closer, you can actually see stress marks inside the crystal from where his claws are kind of like digging into them. You can see that like how powerful his grip is onto that crystal, even down to the back legs and everything as well too. Like even that just looks really good. So when it comes down to the pose and everything, I think that the pose that they chose for this was just perfect. Honestly, this is easily my favorite of the figure builder models so far. This is definitely more of an expensive one, but I don't think that the price is that bad, especially when you consider how different this one is compared to the others. The price is definitely not that crazy at all either. So I think if you guys are looking for getting a Nergigante model from this series, I think that this is definitely a very, very safe purchase. You're going to be purchasing a model that has insane levels of detail into it. Everything down to the colors, the pose, and everything is just very good. Just keep in mind that this is definitely going to be taking up a little bit more space than you may be used to, but even with that, it's still a very, very good model for sure. So with that, that's pretty much going to conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys found it informative. There's definitely going to be more Monster Hunter related content coming in the future. I hope you guys stay tuned for that, but until then, I hope you guys have a good day or good night, depending on where you are. Stay safe, and I will see you all later.